everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Kola Mama. I'm happy that you are back here, and I'm also excited to be back to posting some videos about homeschooling and parenting. So thank you for joining me. My name is Caroline and I am a mother to 5 children who are all homeschooled. Join me in this journey together today as I talk to you about homeschooling during a transition. The last time I posted a video was in late 2020, and I was still a PhD student then. So since then I have graduated with my PhD. I graduated last year. I'm still homeschooling my children. They are now 15, 13, 8, almost 8 and 6. So that is grades 1, 2, 9 and 10. Today I'm going to share with you how I have been homeschooling during a transition. And the transition is because I have a job now as a researcher in a university in the UK, and currently I'm working in Tanzania. So we have had to move from our home in Nakuru. We went to Rumuruti to stay with my parents. Then a few of us went to Scotland, and now we are all in Tanzania. So I'm going to share with you how it has been homeschooling during that journey. It's not been easy, but through a few lessons and a few experimentation here and there, I would say that we are now in a better place, and I'm going to share with you some of the lessons I have learned, some of the ways we have adjusted, some of the new things we have taken up, things we have dropped, and how that has been. The first thing I would like to share with you is that one of the things that has helped me in this transition is to have the long-term goals in mind and to have the big picture in mind. You know, life is very unpredictable. You do not always know the things that are going to happen tomorrow. Even when you think you do, things change and things happen. Like I said, when you're moving around, it's very difficult to keep to a certain schedule. It's difficult to, for me to sit down when I have so many other things to do. But I have found that having the big picture in mind has been very helpful. So instead of looking at the education as just the girls sitting down and finishing their math and language and science and so on and so forth, I try to look at it as, holistically. What are the lessons they are learning even through this transition period? So for example, the older girls have helped me a lot in issues like budgeting, preparing for a trip, and that has been very beneficial for them. So that is an opportunity for them to learn. Another thing I have had to do is, for example, the younger girls, when we went to Scotland for 2 months, the older girls and I went to Scotland for 2 months. The younger girls were out of school for 3 months. So my mom tried doing a few things with them, especially math and English. And so I wasn't too worried even if they didn't do much, because I knew I would be able to catch up. But I found that, just having that perspective that this is life, it's not just about what they learn in class, like book work, but also looking at what are the other lessons they are learning, the places we've been able to visit, because of my job, I get to move around a lot, and most of the time I move with the children. So in 2022, we went to Oloitoktok. We were there for 3 weeks at a time, 2 times. We also went to Mombasa. And so the children still get to learn a lot of things by interacting with other people, being in a new environment. And so I try to look at it that way. And I would say that the girls have learned a lot as a result of, even during this transition. Like when we were selling things, planning which things to sell, which ones to give out, and, organizing things. All that is a learning experience for the children and for myself. And so when you have that big picture in mind, then it's not so stressful. As a result of all this transition, and the older girls being in high school, sometimes you're not able to cover everything you want to cover within 1 year. So one thing I decided is that I want the girls to do high school in 5 years instead of 4. And within those 5 years, we'll be able to cover everything that they need to cover, and even extra things based on their talents and giftings. So because homeschooling is flexible, I find that if you have that perspective that you're learning the whole of life, it's holistic learning, not just completing a curriculum, then it is less stressful. So you're not as stressed as a parent, and the children are also not stressed when you're trying to cover everything and you still have to plan to travel. So I would say that the first thing that has helped us is to just have that big picture in mind, that what are our goals and are we achieving them in the long run? Are we still having socialization? Are we making sure that especially math and language arts are not lagging behind? What is the method we are thinking about for catching up? Just the interaction that they have with other people. All these things are beneficial for children to learn. The next thing I will talk about is flexibility and adaptability. Like I said, in a transition, when you're moving from one place to another, especially from one country to another, it's a really complicated process. There's a lot that is involved in planning for it. And so if you have to still homeschool at the same time, it can be quite difficult. But it's flexibility, then it really helps. So for example, when we went to Scotland, I went with the two older girls, so we only carried books for math and language arts, because those are the subjects that I didn't want them to lag behind at all. And we carried those books and they were able to continue with that, because I still wanted them to have time to, see around and being in a new context, learn different things. So I think that flexibility helps you, because then you're not trying to do everything at the same time and getting frustrated at the within that process. Another thing is that for the younger girls, we have had to be flexible. So I have a teacher who teaches the two who are in grade 2. So she helps me to teach math and language arts online. I teach the youngest one between 8 and 10. And so I teach her at that time. I allocate one day for math, then for language arts, then the next day for math and language arts. And for the older girls, like I said, the high schoolers will do most of the work on their own, and the younger girls have a teacher who will help me. So because I have to juggle work and homeschooling, I do Bible time and poetry with the high schoolers on Fridays, and I will also do science experiments with the younger ones on Saturday. I read the Bible to them most mornings before I go to work or before they start their school day. So the girls all are doing piano. Both practical and theory. They have a teacher, the same teacher we have had for a long time. So currently they are working with her online, and that is also helpful. So the older girls, again, will teach the younger ones. One does piano with them and the other one does theory. So all those are ways that I have utilized, and my daughters and I have utilized to make homeschooling work for us in our context and during this transition. So they had to take, they stopped piano for quite a while, but they continued with theory because that one it was easier to do during a transition. But now they have resumed both of them. And so, like I said, it's deciding what you can draw, because you can't have everything at once. Life is not like that often. You lose some and you win some battles and you lose others. Another thing is creativity. So my older two girls help me to, one of them teaches science. She teaches the sibling science, and the other one teaches history. So that is helpful because, first of all, it helps to reinforce what the older girls have learned. When you teach, it also reinforces what you have learned. And secondly, it provides an opportunity for them to bond with their sisters. It provides an opportunity for them to earn an income because I pay them to do it. And so they have to be diligent and they have to do it very well. So I have found that, with innovation, creativity, and having that big, that goal in mind, that the reason why many of us are homeschooling is so that you can have that flexibility. Because in a regular school, you may not have that flexibility. If you take your children out of school, they basically will miss out the entire time you're away. But if you're a homeschooler, you can think of creative ways of ensuring that you still get to cover your ground and you still get to live life. So I will share more in subsequent videos, some of the very specific things we have done. But I have found that, get help when you need. So I also have a teacher who helps me to mark the creative writing that the high schoolers do, because that is a lot of work for me to do. So you need to be creative and think about what are the resources that are available to you, what are the opportunities that are available in your context. Thankfully, with online, we have a lot of opportunities now. They also have a teacher who teaches science, the high schooler. So think about, be creative, be adaptable, be innovative, and don't feel like you have to homeschool like anybody else does. You just have to understand your family dynamics, your family circumstances, and be willing to work with that.